Thabani Mzolo, who murdered 21-year-old student Zolile Khumalo, is to be sentenced today. 25-year-old Thabani Mzolo was convicted of murder by the Durban High Court on Wednesday. Khumalo was a student at the Mangosuthu University of Technology when she was shot dead at the university residence. For the latest on the story, let's go live now to our reporter Karinda Jagmohan. Karinda, a very good morning to you, and thank you so much for joining us. Now, till death do us part. Those are some of the words that I remember as Thabani Mzolo took to the stand, speaking about his relationship with Khumalo, just in terms of the timeline of events and how we've ended up at this point in time where judgment is set to be delivered. Talk us through the events that have led us to this point.
Good morning to you. Indeed, 21-year-old Zolile Khumalo was a student at MUT, but she lived at her off-campus residence, Lonsdale residence in the Durban CBD, and she often complained to her friends about the abusive relationship that she had been experiencing with Mzolo. They had been dating for several months. Now, on May 1st, 2018, Mzolo had signed into that Lonsdale residence with the help of a friend to seek out after she had broken up with him because of those abusive incidents she had experienced with him. After finding her in her room inside the residence, he shot her 3 times in the chest as she died at the scene. And we heard from during the trial that he also kicked her body as she lay on the ground. Now, this happened with witnesses being able to see what had happened and identifying Mzolo. He was arrested in the days after, and this saw mass student protests, not just by MUT students, but across Durban. Many students coming to court, marching for the harshest of sentences against Mzolo, calling for no bail for Mzolo. 2 years later, Mzolo has been found guilty. The presiding officer, Judge Zolile Khumalo, said that it was beyond reasonable doubt that indeed Mzolo had murdered Khumalo. She also said that Mzolo had constantly been abusive towards Khumalo and took this as a joke, and said that he does indeed deserve the harshest of punishments. We're yet to see how that will unfold today.
Now, students have mobilized, Karinda, coming to court and, speaking out against gender-based violence. In terms of the community and the students themselves, how have they reacted to this very day that we're facing today?
Students and the community are extremely angry. We saw this when the incident happened in 2018. Hundreds of students marching towards them, the Durban Magistrates Court, when the case first started unfolding. Even then, court officials had to block doors to ensure that not many students couldn't come into the court at that time because of space issues. And up until now, we're still seeing students and families coming to court, protesting. Today, of course, calling for the harshest of sentences for Mzolo. Also, to make a statement against perpetrators of gender-based violence. Enough is enough, they say. This cannot continue. This incident happened in 2018 when he started seeing gender-based violence stories emerging, the realities emerging, and now we're at a stance where we have seen so many stories in KwaZulu-Natal. Students and families have clearly had enough, and they want the sentence to make a statement to perpetrators that you cannot continue in this manner. We need to save our women and children.
Now, today is Judgment Day. How are we expecting proceedings to roll out throughout this process?
Well, judgment actually took place yesterday. Judge Khadebe found Mzolo guilty of murdering Khumalo beyond reasonable doubt. Today we're going to see the sentencing taking place. It's unclear yet whether Mzolo will be testifying in terms of mitigating circumstances or whether any of Khumalo's family or friends will be testifying in terms of mitigating circumstances for the sentence. However, what we do know is that Mzolo will face possibly a minimum of 10 years behind bars for this murder. He did take a life. However, the family here want that life sentence. They want to see Mzolo behind bars. Khumalo's father, Mr. Comfort Khumalo, spoke to us in 2018 when the funeral was taking place and said his little girl didn't deserve to die this way, and he wants to see justice for the Khumalo family because his little girl Zolile had come to this university, to MUT, to find a job to better the living conditions of her family.
Thank you so much. Let's leave it there for now. Of course, all eyes on that court, the Durban High Court, where our reporter Karinda Jagmohan is watching the proceedings that are set to take place today. Thabani Mzolo, who murdered 21-year-old Zolile Khumalo, is set to be sentenced today. Of course, we'll take you live to that those proceedings as soon as they're underway.